Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Sixth Floor Podcast, Drafting the 80s. I'm Yap. There's Breeze in the upper left, Johnson in the lower left, and Sags in the lower right. So we've been drafting 80s topics, and we've had fun with it, and we're moving over to music again. And Johnson has the topic this week. What are we drafting? What's the order? How's it breaking down?
Well, I think if there's one thing that kind of defines the 80s, it's the, for you kids out there, there used to be this, well, I guess it's still a channel, MTV, but they used to play these things called music videos. You don't see very many of them nowadays, but I thought we would draft the best or our favorite videos from, that particular decade when that genre really, I don't think there's any denying, skyrocketed and kind of changed music. Some might say for the better, some might say for the worse. But it was definitely, I think, an important part of all of our childhoods was getting to watch music videos.
Yeah,
agreed.
Totally.
And I might as well go ahead and get the one stipulation we made out of the way. We have decided to take Thriller by Michael Jackson off the board because that, in many ways, that is, the video of all videos. I didn't realize until I was doing a little research on that because, obviously before we made that rule, I mean, I'm sure it's on everyone's draft board, as the only music video that has been registered on the National Film Registry. I thought that was pretty interesting. And when you think about it, it makes sense because it's got everything. It does kind of play off, like a film. Then you throw in, the music and it's just iconic. And I think most people, whether that's your particular favorite style of music, would have that, if not at number one, certainly in the top 2 or 3 of the decade. So
yeah, plus it's 15 minutes long.
Yeah. So
Well, it's one of the first videos that we saw as MTV was beginning to grow and stuff that had all those qualities of a movie in terms of technical value and production and just the look of it, and obviously who directed the video and all the people that were in it. And what I think is most interesting about that video is that as the years have gone on, like we continue to learn little tidbits about that video, about some of the people who were in it that were extras or whatever. And in terms of, knowing who was playing the guitar part for that song, and just all the little tidbits that we've learned through the years just makes that video just still amazing today.
I don't know the exact time frame or all that, but if I'm not mistaken, like most of the videos around that time. Oh, hey, there it is. They were all like just, videos of, a 3 or 4 minute song or whatever. And this was, like Johnson said, it was a little mini movie, and they played it like that. Like there was a release, I think, on MTV that night, and like they played it up for a few weeks prior to it. So it sounds silly now as these old men sit around here and talk about this, but like that was groundbreaking at the time. Like it was really crazy. And then to beat all, it kind of like lived up to the hype when everybody saw it. Like it was pretty legit.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't a fan of Michael Jackson or whatever, like you were like, oh, Thriller was pretty cool. Yeah. So
you stayed up late to watch Friday night videos or night tracks just to catch it, right?
Yeah.
And by late, we mean 11.
Yeah. Right. All right. So let's get to it. Number one pick.
I think we're ready to draft. The draft order real quick. Sags, then me, then Yap, then Breeze.
All right.
Cool.
Sags, you're on the clock.
So my first pick probably won't surprise anybody when I mention it here. Came out in 1988. I was a young lad of 15 going on 16 in that time frame. And I think we all related to the song. It was funny, but yet, man, we just really agreed with what it was saying. And it was by somebody, I guess you could say he was kind of one-hit wonder. You haven't really heard from him anymore. But my number one pick is going to be Parents Just Don't Understand by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Because I think parents didn't understand, you know. Philion's going to play it. There it is.
Yeah.
Great song, funny song. Everybody remembers the mom, you know, doing all kinds of things. So, you know, this was Will before he started out, obviously, is kind of just getting rolling. This was before Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and all that. So just great. I was a big hip hop fan back in the day. So I'm gonna stick with DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, Parents Just Don't Understand.
That's what I had as number one too. So yeah.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Nice. Well, he's coming to Seymour to play with the SAGs. So
Okay.
I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I've always kind of thought that video kind of influenced that show.
I'm not sure.
You know, especially like the intro has like a lot of the same beats as like the intro to the show and some of the same themes, but
Right.
no. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Will Smith has turned out to be as big an icon as Michael Jackson, but I mean, he's up there. And that was our first introduction to him. So.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, he's done okay, I guess.
Yeah,
Not bad.
he's all right.
Not bad.
All right, so I guess that brings it to me.
Yep.
Since we're talking about music videos and you know, the channel that used to feature them, MTV used to have this little show called Dial MTV. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was a show. I mean, it's basically like a daily like countdown of like the top. I don't remember how many top 5, top 10 videos of the day. The video I'm picking created a rule change to the daily countdown format, and I'm talking "Home Sweet Home" by Motley Crue. If you look it up, there's actually what is called the Crue Rule. That video was number 1 on Dial MTV for 3 straight months. And I guess, you know, the powers that be just got tired of seeing Motley Crue at the top of the charts or whatever, so they came up with the rule that no other video is allowed to be on the countdown past 30 days of its release date. So Motley Crue kind of changed the you know the rules for, you know, what was, you know, one of the most popular. You're kind of distracting me because that's actually the 1991 version of the video, but same song. But I love that video. It's one of my favorite bands of all time. It was really maybe the first power ballad to kind of, I mean, just go nuclear on the charts. And it also set off, it was probably the first of what ended up being 60 gazillion videos where you get to see, you know, the guys in the band, you know, live on stage plus backstage, kind of, you know, showing their sensitive side, showing their funny side, and showing what they do. It was a common video go-to video format, but the best I can remember was the first to really show all that stuff, and you know, obviously it had a huge effect on me and a lot of people. It was number 1 for 3 straight months. So there it is, Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home.
Nice.
Good pick. Good pick. I think with my first pick, we watch videos, and, you know, you see things like Parents Just Don't Understand, and you see the DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and they're acting this out. And then you see Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home, and you talk about the band being backstage. But you go to 1985, and there was a video that came out that featured the singer, but not in real life form as you would see him. It was really a groundbreaking video because it was animated, and it was black and white, and it was a singer who brought somebody into the video that was a human and turned them into a cartoon. And I'm talking about Take On Me from Aha. They didn't have a whole lot of hits. They just had a couple after that. But I thought this video was really cool because you had some girl there in the restaurant. She's flipping through. She sees this guy in a magazine or a comic book thing, and he winks his eye, and there you see it. He's sticking his hand out of the book and says, "Hey, come on. You're just having a cup of coffee. You're not doing anything. Why don't you come in with me in a cartoon world? We'll race a car. How's that?" And I just thought it was really, really cool how they mixed things. Because as kids, we're watching this, and I was 14 at the time, and you guys were younger than that, much younger, I'm sure. But it was just so cool to see how you had that black and white drawing and the real person, and they mixed them both, and the technology for that was like really cool and groundbreaking that back then. Of course, you look at it now, it's like, well, that's kind of silly. But and I think you see that with the special effects from back then and now anyway. But I just thought this was a really cool video, and I'm going to go with Aha, Take On Me.
Yeah, back then it was like, what is that voodoo? I mean, it was like, what are they doing? And real quick, it is Aha because Beavis and Butthead taught us that it was
Uh-huh.
I think that video you could make a case that it's not as good as Thriller, obviously, but like for the genre and for like the 80s, like a lot of people have seen that video. Like, I don't mean our age. I mean, like, like that's an iconic 80s video. Like it would rank up there, I think, top maybe 3, top 5, like ever in the 80s. Like, again, it's just like you said, it was so nuts. People didn't understand what was going on with it. So good pick.
Yeah. Plus, not a bad song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right. So a few months ago, I watched this show on the Access Channel. You guys heard of that channel before?
Oh yeah,
it's kind of a music channel.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about the history of music videos, and I was watching it, and they were talking about how at the beginning of MTV, the MTV was trying to recruit the record companies and the bands to make videos so they'd have content to play on the channel. And a lot of the record companies were a little hesitant. They didn't know about the payoff that music videos would have. They were a little suspicious of it. So therefore, a lot of the bands were a little bit hesitant to make videos. One of the more famous cases they mentioned in the show was Bruce Springsteen was really dragging his feet. He didn't want to make videos. He didn't see what the big deal was. He was really resistant to it. So what you had at the beginning was kind of two camps develop, where one camp that was kind of resistant to it, they just kind of threw together, they would edit together concert footage, and a lot of their videos were kind of concert themed, where they were showing clips and stuff like Johnson alluded to with Home Sweet Home. And it was mostly just edited concert footage. And then you had other bands that really embraced the technology and saw the potential of what this might become. And my first pick is in that latter group. This band really was one of the leaders in creating videos at the beginning of this channel that really set the bar high for production value and direction and all the kind of technical aspects of videos that we see today, that all videos is standard. These guys, they spent money going to exotic locations. They spent money on having good directors. They spent money on having models in the video. I mean, they just went all out. And so with my first pick, I'm going to go with a band so good they named it twice. Duran Duran, Rio. in my reading on some of the best videos of the decade, Duran Duran's "Hungry Like the Wolf" is always mentioned as their best video. It's always in the top 10 or top 20 videos of the decade, with Thriller and some of the other, and Aha. Because "Hungry Like the Wolf," like Thriller, was kind of a mini movie, and it had a lot of those movie production qualities to it. And there was a story arc that went through the song and the video. But for me, Rio sticks in my mind because I was a young kid living in rural West Virginia, and I see these good-looking guys wearing their pastel suits, sitting on the edge of this big catamaran as they're sailing through the ocean. And I'm like, if this is what rock and roll stars is, sign me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had to wash the paint off. I mean,
Yeah.
might as well. Yeah. Any discussion, or you just want to watch the video? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah.
No, man, that's a great pick, man. I think
Yeah.
people sometimes forget too just how huge Duran Duran was in the early '80s, and they were a band that really, like Breeze was saying, embraced that format. And I mean, that elevated them to, superstar.
It's funny, you have to think back to like all these, like you said, they were just enormous. And obviously, Michael Jackson was the 80s, I think. And this was all, again, this is old people talking, but all without social media. Like, it was MTV and the radio, and that was kind of it. Like, that's all there was. And for them to sell all these, if there was, Instagram back then or Twitter or whatever, it's inconceivable how big they would have been. I don't know if it's possible to be bigger than what some of them were, but again, it was just word of mouth, videos, and what you heard on the radio, if you were lucky, once a day. That was it.
Unless it was the Bryan Adams song, which he played 46 times before going to bed.
That was actually played a lot. That was correct.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Yeah. Breeze has another pick.
All right. So with my next pick, I'm going with another video that's kind of seared into my memory and kind of has a little bit of a backstory. I talk about how cool it was to see Duran Duran on the end of the boat and with all the beautiful women and stuff. Well, it's the same thing with my next pick. Being from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, I didn't have any experience with Black culture. I didn't have any experience with really having any Black friends. I didn't know what was going on in the inner cities. And one thing that MTV did around the mid-'80s is that they started playing more rap. And it exposed millions of kids like me and like us to this musical genre that we knew very little about and was still really in its infancy at that point. And it exposed this band particularly, and this video exposed me to stuff that I had no clue what was going on inside some of our bigger inner cities. And so this video came out and this band came out, and they were real controversial when they came out, and this video was a little controversial, and they had another song that was even more controversial. But so with my second pick here, I'm going with NWA's Straight Outta Compton. Seeing these guys walking down the street in LA with all these clips of police brutalizing and arresting and harassing Black people, and they're dressed head to toe in their Black Raiders and White Sox gear. It was real eye-opening for someone that was my age living where I lived. And it's like, wow, this is an entirely different country than what I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's insane too, is you look at the world today, and if you really go back, and I know a lot of people, our age back then, didn't understand it, didn't listen to it, didn't give it a chance. And that's fine. I understand that. That's the way you are with new music. But they were talking about things that were going on then that are happening today.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, maybe if we had listened to people back then, we could avoid some of the things that are going on today. But it really is. It's just the same. It's the same stuff that's still happening. So very interesting. But yeah, I was a big hip hop fan. So that's a really good pick.
I like that pick. I was a fan of Public Enemy. I don't know if it was more so than NWA, but I did like Public Enemy. Welcome to the Terror Dome was one of my favorite songs that they did. Of course, that ranks behind the LA Dream Team, Rudy and Snake,
Well,
which we've discussed.
Doesn't everything?
Yeah,
Doesn't everything
yeah,
combine?
you're right. You're right.
Like the given in geometry. It just is. It's just-
All right. So my next pick is going to be another one of those videos where it's not a normal video with people in the band being live. There were a lot of different videos that were really groundbreaking when they were produced. And there was a popular TV show on at the time when this video was released, and I guess it was the Invisible Touch album from Genesis. But the TV show was called Spitting Image, and they used puppets of different characters throughout the show. And Genesis decided, hey, you know what? Let's put that in a video. So their song Land of Confusion is a great song, but the video I think is even better because you've got all of these puppets and you're like, what in the world's going on here? This was such a cool show. But then, you're looking around, you see all these heads laying around, and then you see a Phil Collins puppet right there. And it looks really creepy, man. He looks like, you all remember, what was his name? Waylon Flowers and Madam had the puppet on a stick. You remember? It kind of looks like that. But it was just so, and Ronald Reagan. I mean, how cool is that to see Ronald Reagan as a puppet in a video? But that show was really cool. It was kind of a political kind of a show where you talk about world events and political leaders and stuff. But and then Land of Confusion. Can't you see it's a land of confusion? And just hearing the lyrics and putting these puppets to the video, I just thought that was really cool. And that's going to be my second pick.
Yeah.
That's a great pick.
Great, absolutely. And another just groundbreaking video too.
Yeah.
What year was that, Phil?
86, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you could really see, like Breeze was talking about, the bands were at first a little hesitant earlier in the decade. And obviously, 86, 87, as it goes on, a lot of them taking more chances, starting to figure this out. Like, hey man, this is a great way to get our music out there more than just on the radio or buying albums or whatever. So they were really pumping out some good stuff.
Yeah, solid pick. My next pick is groundbreaking, but maybe to just me personally. The biggest thing videos brought to someone like me was, a visual aid, to go along with some of these songs we heard, and sometimes, it exposed us to new music. It put a face with a lot of these artists, and what a face. And I'm talking about Mrs. Susanna Hoffs, part of the Bangles, and the video Manic Monday. Like I think I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I mean, she was my first celebrity crush, and a big reason for that was this video. I'm just like, oh my God, look at this beautiful woman. And to be fair, as I've grown older, I also realized what a talented musician she is, on top of that. But yeah, I mean,
I probably shouldn't have put this video up. Hello.
Yeah. I mean, to me, just being able to see someone like that and just be enamored with a celebrity, that was the first time I've ever experienced anything like that. And, it happens to all of us, I mean, and that's definitely, my guilty pleasure video for obvious reasons. Just look at her. So.
I'm guessing it may not be the only time that the Bengals make this draft.
There's a pretty popular song It was, and probably a better video and a more popular video, but Manic Monday was my first exposure, to them and Susanna Hoffs. So
Written by Prince, by the way.
I guess.
I know that.
I mean, how cool is that too? I actually listened to an interview not too long ago with Susanna talking about that and how Prince was such a huge fan of them and had this song. Was like, I think this would be perfect for you guys. And much like everything else he did, he was 100% correct.
Absolutely. Great pick.
Oh yeah, I don't want to freak you out, but your curtains are moving.
Yeah, that's the dog.
Okay.
The dog's trying to
Good.
get my attention.
Pay attention to me. So this pick will, as my first pick probably didn't shock anyone. I think this pick will shock everyone,
Oh,
even those listening that don't know me.
Travis Tritt.
Dang it. No. So as mentioned, 80s, 90s, probably when I probably stopped was 90s, but a huge hip hop fan. Pretty much all I listened to. And I wish going back, if I had a regret in life, it was that I didn't give other genres a chance, but when you're young and you're like, hip hop's the only way, country's stupid and heavy metal's stupid, right? You don't think of other things. Then you go back and you listen, you're like, actually, that's pretty legit. Like, I wish I'd given that a shot. One of my biggest regrets, this is not my pick, but not seeing Garth Brooks in concert. Like, I've heard that dude just puts on a show. Like, it's ridiculous. And I wish I could have seen that live, but that has nothing to do with pick, just regret. So this pick is, it's a war video. It's about a World War I soldier who was hurt in battle. He lost all of his limbs and he couldn't speak. And he was trying to communicate with the doctors.
We have 10 minutes, by the way. Sorry.
Okay. And that's all right. And he started to Morse code to kill me. It's a really, really good video. Again, at the time I didn't understand it and give it a shot, but when you go back, it's really good. And it's won by Metallica. Just
Great pick.
Again, when I think this came out in 88, again, 16-ish. Again, I was heavy into hip hop and I was like, this is dumb. This is black and white. What's going on? This is stupid. Guy's got something over his face. And, but then you go back and you read about it and you listen to it and you give it a chance, which I would suggest anybody do to any music genre, is give it a chance. And it's a really, really good video, message, just the whole deal. So, One by Metallica is my number 2 pick.
Great pick. Also, their first ever video, and that's another band like Bruce was talking about that resisted making videos. And Metallica had already become pretty big. But One took them to that next level where they arguably became the biggest, most important, and most popular rock band of the 80s, 90s, and beyond. So,
well, they were slow to a lot of things. Like, they were really slow to get on streaming music and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, like, there's money to be made here. Like, let's go. So going back, sorry, I'm scrolling up. Now it's tough because now I only got 1 pick left. And I'm really not sure. I got a couple here that I could go with. And again, I'll surprise you. I'll go over the others in my honorable mentions, I guess. But I'm going to go with this one just because I thought it was a cool visual video. Johnson mentioned it earlier, and I think Breeze did too. They did a lot of concert shots for videos and stuff. But this was later in the decade. So it was a little more polished and put together. But I was just always amazed at the crowds that these bands could put into stadiums, I guess. And it's just, when I saw this, it was just this sea of people. I'll never forget the image in the video. And it's Guns N' Roses' Paradise City.
wow. Yeah.
I mean, again, I just see this huge stadium. It's probably Giant Stadium or something. I don't know, but it's just people like on the field. Like there's no there's no space.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to me that, I mean, Giant Stadium at the time probably held, 70,000 people for a football game, 80,000 people, whatever. And the entire infield is full, or the entire bowl is full. And there's got to be 150,000 people there. And it's just, they're just playing in front of all these people, and it's just crazy. Again, I was not a big Guns N' Roses fan. Probably still would not be. I respect their music, but they just didn't resonate with me, I guess. But look at that. It's just people. So, we all remember the hook to Paradise City, right? So, that just adds to it. So, that'll be my third pick. Oddly that I would pick two heavy metal groups, but, hey, here we are. I'm much wiser now.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song from them. It's a great song.
Yeah, two awesome picks there back to back. Two iconic videos. For my next pick, it's a band, oddly enough, it's kind of closely related to Guns N' Roses as far as their formative, early days. Not a hugely popular band. They're not going to make any top countdowns of anything, but throughout the years, for a variety of reasons, well, I'll get to real quick after I talk about the video just for a second. The band is LA Guns. The video is Electric Gypsy. There's nothing groundbreaking about this video. It's 5 dudes riding around the desert on their motorcycles. They stop to play the guitar solo, which when you're riding around on a motorcycle in the desert and it's time for a guitar solo, you have to. But that was the video that just, for that band, that took them from the category, like the tier of like bands I kind of like, to, whoa, I really love these guys. And this band has become such an important part of my life. Actually, me and the bass player ran a fantasy football league for 3 years together. I've seen this band 75 times in concert. Most importantly, no joke, if it wasn't for this band, I may not have met my wife. We met because we had mutual friends, and and it kind of scares me to think that maybe if I didn't latch on to them in a video, that's not them at all. That's a band called Electric Gypsy. But
oops.
But
edit that out.
Like I said, it's a video that just means a lot to me personally, because my life is so much better because I found that band, and not just because I've gotten to know some of the guys. They're great guys, but that's where I met my family. I met my wife, because of that band, and so that video is always going to have a spot in my heart.
Is this it? Is this better?
Hey,
that is it. Yes.
All right.
That is it.
Yeah.
So
cool. That's a good story too, Johnson. That's awesome.
It is.
I feel y'all hadn't screwed it up, but
I know. My bad.
Well,
it's dudes. It is.
Funny thing is, one of them guys, there's been like 30 different members in this band. So one of them guys in that video may have ended up being in the band. That's very, very possible.
We got about 3 minutes left. So,
dear.
Yeah.
Never making it.
We'll hurry. I'll hurry with this pick. I could very easily have gone with Walk Like an Egyptian from the Bangles and did the eye thing. But I'm going to shy away from that and go with a video, because sometimes you just want to watch a video and it's a great song, but it makes you laugh. And that's exactly what happened with this video from the Cars from 1984. You might think. You had Rick Ocasek, the lead singer of the Cars. His head was on a fly and he was buzzing around, and there was a young, beautiful woman that he just kept pursuing. Look, his head's off, for crying out loud. And he's kind of a goofy dude anyway, but here's some chick in her 90s, and Rick Ocasek's everywhere. So just thought that was a funny video, made me laugh, and sometimes you need that.
Yeah, love the Cars, man.
All right. So if it's okay with Johnson, before I make the last pick here, I want to mention some of these groundbreaking videos that we should really mention for this episode. You got Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, iconic video.
2 minutes.
Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen for concert video. Born in the USA is a kind of an iconic concert video. Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love, is another iconic video from that time. White Snake. Like I was texting you guys in our text the last couple of weeks, ZZ Top had a lot of really cool videos in the 80s. They were really big because of their videos. They became big. If they didn't have those videos, they probably never would have reached, kind of national appeal. So my last pick, I'm going back to where we started with Michael Jackson. And for me, as great as Thriller was, the Michael Jackson video sticks out for me is Billie Jean. And the reason I like that one is because it seemed more real. It was just Michael kind of interacting with the things around his neighborhood. He was dancing with a trash can or a fire hydrant or a light post or whatever it was he was reacting to. And the coolest thing that I always remember about that video is him walking down the street and the sidewalks lighting up when he steps on a certain square. And that's just, it seemed more natural. It seemed like something you would see in a Fred Astaire movie.
Yeah.
That video is the one that sticks out in my mind from Michael. And the song was better, I thought.
Yeah.
Great
Good
video.
stuff.
Man.
Yeah.
Bold take.
Good stuff. Yeah, we're less than a minute to go. So I guess that wraps up our video draft. That was pretty good, huh?
Yeah,
Good
man.
stuff.
It's much like the movies. How do you pick just three?
Yeah.
Somehow we did, but
You got any honorable mentions, Johnson?
nah. I only like the three. That's it. It's the only three I would
Ghostbusters.
watch.
Ghostbusters, my honorable mention.
All that duel straight up.
Yeah.
Make your own jokes.
That what Promise of a New Day wasn't mentioned either.
Yeah.
Odd.
The 90s.